Thanks for tuning in to Red Belt Radio. The following episode is scheduled for one fall. I'm Jason, and this show is dedicated to World Wonder Ring Stardom. Today I'm covering the recent disruptive announcements involving injured Stardom wrestlers during the tail end of June 2025. The second half of the year will see many names in Stardom elevated to higher status. Elevated to the position of 5-star GP champion, elevated to the position of Goddess Tag League champions months later, elevated to the positions of #1 contenders for the company's top belts. As much of Stardom's roster climbs towards the top, there are at least 2 wrestlers who will likely need to remain on the sidelines. The first is SYURI, former IWGP champion and the faction leader of God's Eye, and the second is the unaffiliated Koguma, who at the time of this recording is in America, alongside her FWC tag partner Hazuki. Let's look at why SYURI will be taking time away from Stardom, and what we know about Koguma's cancelled USA match. If you find these transmissions valuable, please give this a like, subscribe to the channel, or leave a comment to let me know what you think. Of course, we are hoping for smooth and speedy recoveries for both SYURI and Koguma. Now let's talk this through. After losing the IWGP title to Sareee in an exhausting 32-minute slugfest on June 21st, SYURI has seemingly gone on to wrestle her final match in Stardom for now at the Okayama Convention Center on June 29th. Here is SYURI's announcement, translated and paraphrased from a June 29th Tokyo Sports article. The article link can be found in the description below. I lost the IWGP title on June 21st, and I've been deeply troubled since then. But I strongly feel that I want to keep improving myself. I've been thinking about leveling up overseas, and I also want to take care of some injuries I've been dealing with. After discussing it with the company, I've decided to take a break from Stardom for a while. June 21st was such a painful loss for me, but I refuse to end things like this. I will absolutely wear the IWGP belt around my waist again. That's why I made this decision. I will return stronger than ever and come back to the Stardom ring, so please allow me this short break. Timing is always a key element of wrestling, and the timing of this announcement does raise some questions. Firstly, did SYURI delay this departure as long as she could? Essentially waiting until the return of God's Eye wrestler Sourei on June 21st. Secondly, did SYURI's injury trouble contribute to the decision to have her drop the IWGP title after just one successful defense? And if the answer to that is yes, was SYURI's IWGP fate decided before or after she obtained the belt from former Stardom icon Mayu Iwatani? We can see that during the God's Eye vs. God's Eye match on July 28th, that SYURI had both of her elbows as well as part of her upper back, neck, and shoulders taped up, indicating that she's been having a number of physical challenges lately. Despite there being no time frame provided for her recovery, we can at least take SYURI completely off the board for this year's 5-star Grand Prix. Fortunately, SYURI is in one of Stardom's most populated factions, and wrestlers like Sourei are being lined up to handle a lot of the faction storytelling and big match opportunities. But there's something else to take note of. Stardom has been losing a lot of faction leaders over the course of 2025. Tam Nakano, Mayu Iwatani, Maika, and now SYURI as well. And it's not like Cosmic Angels or EXV have been rushing to appoint a new or even temporary leader. Let's see if God's Eye takes a similar approach to those factions or not. Next up is Koguma, who sadly could not compete at Spark Joshi Ignite Texas on June 29th Despite flying to the event along with her FWC partner Hazuki, Koguma was scheduled to face Jazmin Allure in a singles match, but an injury of some kind has prohibited the contest from happening. Koguma was replaced at the show by Priestley. There does not appear to be much information on Koguma's injury, nor has there been any physical sign of injury in her photos, but Koguma was still able to take part in a meet and greet with fans. This has been an extremely strange year for both Koguma and Hazuki, who took on their own faction mates Wingori in a nasty feud that blurred the lines of reality and drama. Not long after that feud, Koguma and Hazuki left the Stars faction and have been unaffiliated ever since. On June 21st, the two were brutalized by BMI 2000, and I can't help but wonder if the harsh nature of that match contributed to Koguma's current injury. Even without this recent news, something is really off about Koguma's status in 2025, to the point that even without having been hurt, many of us had already expected Koguma to be forbidden from this year's 5-star GP. Koguma's standing in the company is currently in question, and now that she's hurt, we can likely remove her from the upcoming 5-star lineup altogether. The same might also be true for Koguma's partner Hazuki. Stardom's 5-star GP press conference will take place on July 5th, and this should start painting a picture in terms of where Stardom is headed and who they want to showcase in the second half of the year. With SYURI and probably FWC out of Stardom's big tournament, the company landscape now offers us even more questions to ponder and theories to discuss. What do you think will pose the biggest challenge to Stardom regarding these recent injuries? Which wrestlers do you think are most crucial to this year's 5-star? And when do you expect SYURI to begin her redemption arc? If you found this transmission valuable, please give this a like, subscribe to the channel, or leave a comment to let me know what you think. Thanks for listening to Red Belt Radio.